Now today we're looking at my top 5 decks that I use for Magic. So let's dive into it, but before we do, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you guys can get notified when I put out top 5s 5 times a week for this whole month, all around playing cards and Magic and cardistry and the whole works. So I hope you guys like all of that, and let's get into it right now. Also, just a side note, all these cards that I'm going to be using, at least most of them, are all like 10% off in the description below, so you can check those out like right down there. So at number 5, we have the purple Monarch playing cards. Now, there's nothing especially crazy about this deck that makes you just go, wow, no wonder, right? But what the great thing is about this deck is this back design. Oh my word. This deck comes in just a normal new deck order. The faces are all standard, which makes it fantastic for Magic. And this back design was used, and now you see me, for crazy amounts of Magic. So if they could use a deck like this, it's a Theory 11 deck who only prints Magic decks. It's fantastic. This is a number 5. Now at number 4, we have the Turtle Bay playing cards. Now this deck is not normally a deck that most people know about, if hardly any. This deck was on Kickstarter. Now the reason I love this deck so much, number 1, it has a reveal on the tuck box for the 7 of spades. And number 2, this is a marked deck. Yes, I just dropped a tuck box, but you don't get to tell people that. This is a fully marked deck. It is super cool. The marking system is amazing, and I've never seen a marking system like this before. So I do have a tutorial on the marking system in a review of this deck, actually a review of that deck as well. So if you want to see any of that stuff, I'll link it all in the description below so you guys can check out the marking system, which is really cool, and check out these playing cards, which are number 4. Now at number 3, we have the Orbit V7 playing cards. Now why would I have more of a cardistry deck as one of my favorite Magic decks to perform with? Well, number 1, it is a cardistry deck, which actually makes it a little bit easier to do that with, because a lot of the time I'm carrying around decks, I'm doing cardistry with them, and then you realize that this deck is also a marked deck for both value and suit. It is a fully marked deck. Again, I've done a tutorial on how to read this deck, and it's in the description below for 10% off, which is also just super cool. But this is a super cool cardistry deck that has a marking system, so it can go both ways, and I love that. Because I love to be able to do cardistry, and then most of the time someone will come up to me, hey Elijah, will you do a magic trick? Of course. It's super easy. I've got you. And then I have a little bit of a bonus to do stuff with. Plus it does come with a duplicate card and a double backer, I believe a double backer. I'm losing my mind now. So it comes up with a bunch of really fun stuff, duplicate jokers, which all of these things make it super easy to perform Magic with. So this is why the Orbit V7s are my number 3. Now at number 2, I kind of have 2. I guess the first one would have to be the red bicycle playing cards, simply because it is a fan favorite and a favorite of mine as well. When you have a spectator who's used to people performing Magic, or have ever seen Magic before, this is a deck that they would not suspect anything of. Cardistry decks, Magic decks, that's some special deck. It's probably marked or something. Now granted, with a couple of those, they have been marked. But with the bicycle deck, you're never really suspecting anything to be out of the ordinary, and it's just what people know and recognize. So they're not going to be having any extra suspicion with it, which makes it a fantastic deck for Magic. Now, if you're wanting to up the game and still basically have a bicycle deck, you can go with the Slow Hands playing cards by Cure Gomes. Now this deck is amazing as well, and I'll show you why. 1, it has a lot of the same qualities as a bicycle deck. Like even just looking at the back design, it looks very similar to what a bicycle deck would look like. The extra things it has is it has a duplicate card. It has a one-way back design, but extremely subtle. It has a reveal on one of the jokers. It has things like this that are small little tweaks that make this deck just a bit better than a normal bicycle deck, while being able to keep your same bicycle deck feel, which is why the Slow Hands and bicycle reds are my tied for number 2. Now let's get into the honorable mentions. The first honorable mention, we have the Golden Gator backs. Now simply, this is a really fantastic deck created by David Blaine himself. Now this doesn't have a crazy bunch of things, like it has 4 jokers, which isn't something that's completely normal, but when you're looking at this deck, it is a fantastically beautiful deck of cards made by David Blaine himself, the master of all-time magicians, for magicians. So it has a reveal on one of the queens, and this back design is absolutely gorgeous, done in all of this gold foil, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It's done in beautiful gold metallic, the tuck box, everything, which is why this is my first of 2 runner-ups. At number 6, my other runner-up, we have the Parlor deck by the Gentleman Wake. This is a gorgeous deck. Oh my word, I love using this deck, and it feels amazing. This was the last deck that Cardamati printed using this stock. So this deck feels amazing. Based upon the back design, it looks amazing. The courts look amazing. It has more of a like an old school Parlor feel. Shocker there by the Parlor. Yeah, you would never would have guessed that, right? It feels amazing. I love to use this deck. It is honestly one of my favorite decks for handling, but that is in another video. So this is why I love this at number 6. He actually has his newest deck coming up. It might have been this week, but I'm recording this a little bit early, so I'm not quite sure on the actual day, but probably right now is going to be on Kickstarter. So if it is, I will leave the link to the V1s and V2s in the description below. But without any further ado, let's get into number 1. Now, my number 1 and favorite deck for performing Magic, we have the Cherry Casino playing cards. Now, this isn't a normal deck that people think, oh, yep, Magic deck, that's it, right? Well, it really is. Number 1, super simple back design. Nothing over the top and crazy about it. The other thing is, it comes in Mnemonica stack. This is the first one of any of these that I've mentioned that come in Mnemonica stack, which is a fantastic stack I'm working on memorizing currently. I'm about 30-some cards in, so it's a lot of fun. The other thing is it does come with duplicate jokers, a blank card, and a double backer, and all of the faces are standard. So all these things combined makes it super simple. You can do cardistry with it, pull out a few tricks, and it all works fantastic, which is why the Cherry Casino playing cards happen to be my number 1 for performing Magic. So this is my top 5 list. Let me know what your top 5 would be in the comments below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Again, all these cards, or at least most of them, are 10% off down below. This is Card Perfect, signing off.